Hi everyone, this is Rebecca Keppel. I am super excited to be back on ThermOWeb's YouTube channel today. I have some fun cards to share with you using the brand new ThermOWeb Rina Designs Electro-Pop Neon Poppin Pink Flock. So I'm going to use the flock to create both backgrounds and embellishments. I think this is a fun way to use the flock, so I wanted to share it with you. Okay, this is the Electro-Pop Neon Flock in Poppin Pink that I was talking about. And I have a stencil from Heavy Doodle, the Stencil Pal from ThermOWeb, and the Deco Foil Transfer Gel in the Duo. Also the Pixie spray from ThermOWeb. And what I'm going to do here is spray the back of my stencil and then place my cardstock down, the stencil on top. And this time I am going to use the Duo Gel. Great thing about the Duo Gel is that you can use either a laminator to transfer the flock, or you can use pressure from your die cut machine. So I am using the Stencil Pal to swipe that gel across the stencil. It's really easy to do with the Stencil Pal. And then I'm just using my palette knife to pick it up. I'm going to place some gray cardstock in the same spot. Now, with the gray cardstock, I decided I wanted to use the Blanco gel because the Blanco gel will dry opaque. So on a darker cardstock like this gray, that Blanco gel is really fantastic. You can actually just leave it as is and it's this very cool white on dark cardstock look, but it also helps to transfer things like foil and have them be opaque over dark cardstock, or the flock and have them be opaque as well. I'm going to do the same exact thing with another stencil. This one is from Whimsy Stamps. So you can see that I swiped the gel from left to right with those horizontal stripes because that's the way the stripes ran. With the dots, it really doesn't matter. You go in any direction you want. The great thing about the Stencil Pal is it really covers up that entire stencil so that you're not having to do lots and lots of applications. This also helps you to have a nice, smooth, even application of whatever you are applying. I used a little bit more on these ones because I wanted to show you that you can also create some dimension. Okay, right now I am using the Duo Gel. So I am cutting some flock, just a slightly larger piece than the transfer gel, the Duo Gel that I have on my cardstock, which are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Place that flock with the fuzzy side facing your medium. So facing my Duo Gel there. Okay, I can put both of them in my sandwich for my die cut machine. I use the Gemini Junior, just a regular die cutting sandwich no matter what machine you have. And then once you peel them off, that flock has transferred beautifully. I can't even believe you don't need to use heat. So this is a great way if you don't have a laminator to transfer things like foil and flock as well. Okay, now for the Blanco gel that's great for on top of dark cardstocks, you do have to use a laminator. I'm going to do the same process of cutting out the flock to be slightly larger than my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panels, and I'm going to save those scraps on the side there for die cutting and other things. Now, once I have these all ready to go with the flock facing my gel, just like I did before, I'm going to put them in a parchment paper sandwich. The parchment paper sandwich keeps everything together, makes it run through your laminator nice and smooth, and you can use that folded edge to run everything through without anything getting crinkled up or jammed in your laminator. Okay, once everything is cooled, I take it out of the parchment paper and then peel and reveal, and we've got our flock transferred to our dark colored cardstock, and you can see how beautiful it looks. Oh, I just love this so much on top of the Blanco gel. So the Blanco gel, because it dries opaque, it is great for transferring things onto dark colored cardstocks. Okay, now I'm going to take the flock and I'm just going to die cut a bow. This is from the Waffle Flower Easy 3D Bows die. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to put these together. The flock comes with a paper backing, which means that you can just die cut it as is, like I did here. And then I'm just folding the bow tails in. You can see that there were two little slits in the back there. That's how it all kind of comes together. And then this centerpiece just wraps around. Now, what I was saying is the flock has that paper in the back there. It's pretty thin, which makes it perfect for paper crafts like this. So if you don't want to transfer it on a background, you just want to make embellishments out of it, the flock is absolutely perfect for that. You can see that the way these bows fold, if the paper in the back were too thick, you would get crease lines. And that's what you don't want with these bows. You want them to be kind of rounded and popped up and dimensional. So actually that thin paper on the back is absolutely perfect for any type of folding like this where you're creating a paper embellishment. Okay, now I'm using the Waffle Flower Be a Cat die, and the way that the die cuts these little pieces, you can snip them out. So I'm snipping out the cat's ears and these spots on top of the cat's head because I want them to be different colors. I'm going to use some Distress Oxide inks and an ink blender, and I am going to just blend on some gray ink on the cat's face. Once that's done, I'm going to use black soot in Distress Oxide ink to blend the little cat's stripes at the top of her head. And then I have some worn lipstick for the nose and some spun sugar for the ears. I'm going to cut out two little squares of black cardstock, and I'm going to use some Ultra Bond liquid adhesive around the eyes and put that black cardstock behind it. So when I flip it over, her eyes are taken care of as well. Now I am going to use that Ultra Bond again. I do find that when you're trying to adhere something on top of flock, even just these little dots, you want to use a nice strong liquid adhesive. So that's why I'm using the Ultra Bond. That JBL is my speaker. It's just a heavy thing in my craft room that I wanted to put down on the poor little cat's face so that the liquid glue could dry while I'm finishing up putting her face together. Okay, so you can see there I added a little liquid glue behind the two little inside ear spots there and glued those in. Also glued in those little stripes as well. And then just put the speaker on top just to make sure everything dried nice and adhered really well. Okay, for the little bows, I am using a small piece of the Gina K Designs for ThermOWeb foam tape, and I just cut a little piece with nonstick scissors. What I'm doing there is holding that little piece that wrapped around the center in place and adhering it down to my card. So that little itty bitty piece of the foam tape does double duty, holding the centerpiece in place, and then just peel off the back protective layer and then stick it on your project as well. And you can create those cute little flock embellishments. For my second card, I just die cut a piece of the Hello Yellow flock, and I am just going to adhere that down as is using some Ultra Blonde again because I am adhering that paper from the back of the flock down onto the flock background there. So I have all those pretty flock stripes, and I want this Hello die cut to fit. It's another Waffle Flower die, Oversized Hello, and so I want that to adhere down really well, and so that's why I use the strong liquid adhesive. Okay, for my sentiments, I'm just going to have some really tiny, cute little sentiment strips, and I am going to use the Electro-Pop neon inks from Rina K Designs. This first one is the blue, and it says, "Just wanted to say," and that is for my Hello card. And then the second one says, "Sending you a smile," and that's for my little kitty with the bow embellishments. I'm once again going to cut some of that Gina K Designs foam tape. Just cut it in half so that it's thin enough to fit behind those sentiment strips, because especially the kitty one is very skinny. It's a Simon Says stamp sentiment stamp set, and I cut the strip really tiny, so I had to cut the foam tape down really skinny as well. But the great thing about this foam tape, it is pretty sticky, so it does adhere down to the flock really well without any issues. So that is it. Just a couple of cards where I'm using the Electro-Pop Neon Poppin Pink flock transfer sheets to create both backgrounds and embellishments. These could be used on cards or any other paper crafts, honestly. So if you're interested in the supplies that I used today, they'll all be linked down below. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a wonderful day.